Now that we're talking about giving women a seat at the table, what does representation mean to you?
Yes. It's just because I can see someone that looks exactly like me in this particular position, I'm able to motivate and inspire. When you see women, a woman as a CFO, as a CEO, as a CEO, you're able to think, oh well, there's a chance in the future that I could actually be that.
Yes.
How women perceive development and how men perceive development is very different, and it's a good thing because I feel like from the men I've seen, their development mind is very linear. But if you gave that chance to a woman, they would look at things very differently.
Now, when women started going to school and they started understanding, for example, health matters, hygiene matters, that also improved the health of their community.
Hi guys, welcome to the Rundown. My name is Mihala Barasa.
And I'm Danum Ziuko.
And today, what are we talking about?
Today we're going to be talking about giving women a seat at the table.
So this is your second episode of Woman Unplugged. What is turning out to be one of our favorite segments of this channel.
Yeah.
So today we talk about the value of giving women a seat at the table.
Yes.
In fact, we even thought about, should we call this "What do you bring to the table"?
What? Yes. I know that conversation has been there on social media. I don't know. People have different perspectives about that. What do you bring to the table discussion? I think a lot of people just want to talk about the financial aspect of it, but then probably with relationships, there's a lot more than just the financial aspect. But right now in this economy,
Ruto, where 45% is tax.
Sana, financial is a very big thing.
But it's one of the things.
It's one of the things. It's not the only thing, but yes, it's one of the things. Now that we're talking about giving women a seat at the table, what does representation mean to you?
So representation basically means the presence of women, the presence and participation. So women are not only present, but they are allowed to participate in various institutions. They can be government institutions, they can be private institutions, and being allowed to hold positions of leadership and being involved in the decision-making processes.
Okay, yeah, that's good. And probably you can tell us, what does representation do now?
Okay, so I'll give a little bit of a background from my perspective, and this is very local. Let me just say local.
Yes.
So when I joined my current church and started teaching Sunday school, I had like one kid who's a boy that said they wanted to be a lawyer. I didn't have any other potential lawyers in the class. When I told them that I was a lawyer, more girls said they wanted to be a lawyer. And when I was one of the parents requested me to be a godmother to one of the kids. So when I accepted with the goddaughter, during her baptism, she said, I want to be a lawyer because Teacher Tina is a lawyer. And I'm able to see examples of female lawyers.
Yes.
And there's a seminar, like a teen seminar we had. And one of the kids from Kawangware told her Sunday school teacher, I have never watched women drive to church. Because I see women in traffic driving, but I have never seen I've never been
Up close.
Yes, I've never been up close with women who drive. With this conference, because I've seen so many women drive into this place, I also feel like I can be able to drive to church one day.
Wow.
So that is the local value of representation.
Yes.
It's just because I can see someone that looks exactly like me in this particular position, I'm able to motivate and inspire. Even for myself, in bodybuilding, I see a lot of bodybuilding is when you look at the standard for women, it's very white. But now, presently, our current champion is called Kimberly Percival, and she's from Antigua and Barbuda, and she's dark skinned. And for us, we look at that and you're like, yeah, it's actually attainable. One day we can actually step on the world stage, because this is what a representation of a good bikini bodybuilder looks like.
Yes.
So it doesn't only inspire, but it also empowers us. When you see women, a woman as a CFO, as a CEO, as a CEO, you're able to think, oh well, there's a chance in the future that I could actually be that.
Yes.
Yes.
There used to be this saying that if you empower a woman, you empower the whole community.
How women perceive development and how men perceive development is very different, and it's a good thing, because I feel like from the men I've seen, their development mind is very linear.
Yeah.
Yes, they'll take people to school, they'll do all those things, but if you gave that chance to a woman, they would look at things very differently.
Yes.
Like when you see the fact that my sister Diana has gone to school, she's become a lawyer, she runs a business. The people that she hires are from her community.
Yes.
And if you look at her Africa events, it has employed more than 40 people. And when you look at those boys, we actually usually joke and say there's a train that is Annette's, like they're my younger sister's friends and people that she knows. There's my train, Akina Brian. Then there's her train. Then there's people from her village where she's married. And there's people from my mom's village, and there's two that are from my dad's village. So you can always tell, granted there are other new entrants into the business,
Yeah.
you can always tell just that one act of taking Diana to school and empowering her has created this one thing that is an economic structure for all of us. And I don't have, my mom only has 3 daughters. So I don't have like a brother that I can maybe talk about.
Yeah.
But I can tell you for a fact, the fact that my dad took time to take Diana to school, imetupatia kiburi, by the way. Because me, I'm like, I am loved at home. If shit hits the fan, I am going back to Diana's house.
Yeah.
And I can always say, Ndanu, come, we can hang out at Diana's house. I don't know if I had a brother, if that would be the situation. Maybe it wouldn't, maybe it would. I don't know. But I've always felt like women have this wholesome way of looking at development. I can be able to give my community a job and give back to my community because of this kind of empowerment that I was given.
So from my perspective, when I look at empowering a woman and it having a ripple effect in the community, I think I will look at it from a mother. So with communities, a lot of times, especially back in the day, women were not going to school or were not reaching the very high levels of education. Now, when women started going to school and they started understanding, for example, health matters, hygiene matters, that also improved the health of their community. The health of even mortality rates for children or infants reduce because mothers are knowledgeable. They know how to keep a good environment for children. They know that they need to go for antenatal clinics. They understand that for us to prevent health issues, this is what we need to do because they have been empowered. We need to give our children clean drinking water. We need to ensure that toilets are clean, all those things. Because once they are empowered, now at home, the health of that home improves. The other area is from an economic perspective. Now, when you look at, for example, in the US, the men were the ones who were the majority in the workforce. Then women also fought to be put in the workforce. I know a lot of men imagine that the reason that women push to also be part of the workforce or push to get the better paying jobs is just for fun, like
for the money.
Yeah, we just want to be like them. That's not necessarily the case. Because if you look at a home that has good income from both the husband and wife, how far that home can go. Because you see, you'll find, for example, in our context in Africa, black tax is something that's very real. We have people who there's need to keep empowering the community at home, or a lot of the families, you'll find your the firstborn is still paying school fees maybe for the younger children.
Yes.
So if both husband and wife have good paying jobs, then it's not strenuous on the couple. It has less stress to the couple when both of them are able to contribute towards empowering that community. So it's not just about the woman coming on top to step on the man.
Exactly.
That's not it. It's about uplifting the women to also have equal opportunities, so that even when both the men and the women are able to now contribute economically, things are able to get better. There's this place in Ukambani where one of the bishops went and trained women on how to harvest rainwater. That community really improved. Even the husbands who had gone to Nairobi to hustle went back home. Because now the farm
It's working.
Yes.
And you've always known that Ukambani is a dry place, you can't plant anything.
Exactly.
Yes.
Now they had planted fruit trees, they were making good money. The husbands didn't need to go do casual work in Nairobi. They came back home and helped the wives manage the farms. That's what we mean by when you empower a woman, you've empowered the community. And women who are empowered. As a daughter, if you see your mother and she's empowered, even you'll strive to be like that.
That's the thing. That's the pressure that we are in.
Yes.
Because my mom recently got her PhD. Okay, maybe 3 years ago, got her PhD. And Annette and Diana and I look at each other like
where she's doing the most.
Yes, and we're looking at even there's a national church leadership position that she was being fronted for.
Yeah.
And she's not keen on it, by the way. Her, she's Zuko vibes going to the States for her job and everything. Like, she's not keen on it. But when you look at the track record of what she has done for our community, for her church, for us, and even for the kids that she has adopted,
Yes.
we are always measuring ourselves against her and asking ourselves, are we doing enough? Even Diana, who's doing the most, is always asking, am I doing enough?
Yeah.
Like, am I living up to what beacon of the community she is?
Yeah.
And it can be argued. My dad is great and he's done great things for the community. But when you go back to Kakamega and you mention my mom's name at any boda site, Bora, it's in town, they will take you to the home. Like, they'll tell you, yes, we know her.
We know her.
This is what she does. Like, it's sometimes it's small things.
Yeah.
It's just because she's able to maybe talk to the police sometimes and kind of maybe give them Christmas and to invite them to her home and to invite the National Women delegation near. Like, just because she's able to invite different facets of different people to her house and just have conversations with them, it's totally changed the landscape of even how us as her children view her.
Yeah. And that's really good to hear. I think maybe at this point I'd like to give an honorable mention to the former president's wife, Margaret Kenyatta. Her marathon, Beyond Zero, and the program that she started for maternal care,
Linda Mama.
Those were very good initiatives.
They were good initiatives.
Hey, that lady, hey, please do a mentorship program
for the rest
first
of us,
ladies first in African countries to emulate
what she was doing.
Yeah.
She didn't have a kitty for church and what
and intercessory.
Like, we had better things anyway. But also then that begs the question, whenever you're given a chance for representation, how does it look like for the different women?
Yes.
Is it linear? Is it, are we all going to act with integrity? Or is it a situation where utafika huko na utuangushe? I think that is also another different conversation to be had, because when I joined our former employment, I was actually really ecstatic that for the first time I was going to report to a lady. And granted, there are some things that I thought she was really good at, but I think she was terrible at culture. And I got into that organization with the excitement of reporting to a lady and looking up to her in terms of how she would speak about finance, about accounts, about insurance, because she was extremely knowledgeable. But when it came to people management, I would not touch her with a 10-foot pole.
I get what you mean. And there's something that even women have been asking. Once you get to to the top, are you sending the elevator back down for the other women? You know, and sometimes, granted, yes, there are ladies who are trying to get involved in mentorship of the younger ladies, but sometimes they are fighting for their lives up there because they're the only ladies who are at the top. So sometimes it may not be very easy for them to now get into mentoring the younger ladies because they're trying to play the corporate politics the right way. They are trying to make sure that this seat they've been given, people are not going to question whether they deserve it. So sometimes it may be difficult, but it's important to make sure that once you get there, that you mentor the younger people and that you show the right example of once you get to a leadership position, what are you supposed to be? We have one of the female governors in Kenya who one time was involved in a corruption scandal some years back. And the worst thing about it was people were saying, you see the way this saying for what a man can do, a woman can do better. People were saying, you see, even corruption,
they can participate.
And they're doing it even better.
Exactly, and they're doing
because
it even better.
Whatever that office she was in was being accused of doing, it was crazy corruption.
But you see, I get the mentorship part. I was listening to, I don't know if I can't remember if it was Women at Work or it was a segment from NTV. Do you listen to the Emmys? I'll send you their link. They do it's a Harvard business review program. It's a podcast. So one of the things that they were saying is you don't need to be a good person to be a good boss.
That's true.
You just need to be a person that follows the policy and follows the law. You just need to be nice. You don't need to be a good person.
Yeah.
If this is what the policy or the law says you should do as a woman, follow those things and do those things. I would probably I didn't need her to like me for sure.
Yeah.
I just needed her to not just
not go.
Yeah, the whole time.
I get what you mean.
Again, as I keep saying, it's not like I was terrible at my job for sure. The thing is, for me, there was no differentiation between I've been given this seat and I'm sitting here and I'm able to deliver A, B, C, D, E without making 3 or 4 people feel like I am victimizing them. And I think that is the pocket of representation with women that sometimes becomes an issue. Granted, you will be required to make some difficult decisions.
Yes.
And it's okay. But what are you basing those decisions on? Because remember, the world and the patriarchy and the men are watching. And you're working in an environment where some women are doing their best and doing meticulously well in their roles. Men, the same thing. So you do not want to be this person that you're doing your job well, but there's this, you look like a personal vendetta kind of person.
Yeah.
In fact, I usually argue that the best women leaders are the ones that exemplify the most professionalism without really without really leaving their emotions out of the question. Because there's that part of women that is important for leadership, the empathetic part. And that is why we can see the former first lady is able to appeal to programs that are very women-oriented. If it was the first husband, do you think if it was a woman president with a first husband, they'd be talking about maternal health care? Probably not. Yeah. So that's also the other value that representation brings. You show us you're good at your job, but also show us you're reasonable and empathetic.
So if in your organization you have ladies who require certain professional certifications, then you need to give ample time for everyone. Don't make it a hard stop that I need you to do this within 1 year.
Within 2 days.
You know, it might not be possible for everyone. You know, the men might be able to do it because probably their situation is different. But what about this lady who has just come back from maternity leave?
Yeah.
And
or is going on maternity leave
leave
when you're issuing that circular.
Exactly. Is it going to work for them? So you need to be able to ensure that when it comes to their professional development, you provide an ample environment for them to thrive.
I think talking about our favorite workplace, one of the beautiful things that my boss did for me was to put me through a 12-week leadership coaching program. And the fruition of that is, to date, I still talk to the guy that she put me in touch with.
Oh.
And in fact, the relationship has grown so much, he's become one of my career mentors.
Nice.
And like I said, not all was bad.
Yep.
There were just small pockets of it. And another thing probably that organizations need to do is to make sure that everybody in the organization, even from recruitment, understands what the promotion structure of the organization is.
Yes.
So there can be this lady and this gentleman that are getting in together at recruitment, maybe at intern position. You should be able to tell them, this is how you grow in the organization. This is what might be required of you in the next 2-3 years for you to be able to move. That level of awareness kind of will help the ladies style up and kind of start to move and get the certifications to get to where they are required to do. Granted, most of the times women will be shy to ask of how promotion plans look like in the organization.
Yeah.
The guys will come out and ask. But ensuring that at the time of recruiting someone, you tell them, this is in fact the ceiling that you can get to in this organization, and these are the steps that you need to take to be able to get there, is also another major step in ensuring women have the right way to get into positions of leadership.
So one of the other ways to encourage the younger ladies to aspire to leadership positions is to ensure that you already have a few women in the leadership positions in that organization. Because once you get into a company and you can see the CEO or the COO or CFO, one of them is a lady.
Or head of risk.
Yeah. Oh,
I know. Huh?
let me tell you, the organizations that have a very mature risk management program are headed by women. Go and check. Take it to the bank. Anyway, that really helps to ensure that women actually aspire for those roles. Because when younger ladies join that company and they see there's a lady there, they actually feel encouraged.
I did.
Yeah.
Before my experience, I actually did. I loved it.
Before your experience.
I did.
If there's a therapist, please DM me.
Kare, hi.
Please DM me. There are some issues that Mihala needs to talk about.
Get off my chest.
Yeah. So I think for me, that's what I would say. Is there anything you'd like to add?
I think when you talk about having women in those leadership positions, it's also to ask yourself, again, at recruitment, do I have a pool diverse enough when I'm filling my roles to be able to give women an equal fighting chance? We're not saying hire women only.
Yeah, true.
We're looking at it in terms of gender, in terms of disability, in terms of tribe, in terms of all these other considerations. Do I have a diverse enough pool for me to be able to hire for those positions of people that are so much, so high in the power? Because if you have maybe like 20 members of the executive committee and 19 of them are men, then you need to ask yourself, what is it that my recruitment is not doing right? Or if you have 20 members and 19 are women, again, you ask yourself, what is it that this organization is not doing right? And probably, as we wrap up, the other thing that I would like to say is, the thing about representation is it's always a moving target.
True.
It's not linear. So sometimes you'll get it right, sometimes you will not get it right. As long as you're not doing something against the law, I always encourage the organization that I support is be open to making mistakes and learning. Because we, even as women, we learn things every other day.
True.
So be open to making mistakes, be open to learning, be open to hearing other people's views and hearing best practices. You don't have to be as good as the research ranked Stanchart as the best in gender equality.
Yeah.
Actually, the Kenyan chapter in gender equality. And I think EABL was also among them. But you don't have to really look too far to get examples of the organizations that have best practice. Look around, shop around, do your own trial and error, make mistakes, and at the end of it all, you'll find a place where women are represented and they feel heard and they feel seen. And it will not happen in a day. It will not happen tomorrow. It will not happen next year. But as long as women know that they're in the conversation towards representation, I think it helps.
And by the way, it's actually one of the matrices when you're doing your annual ESG scoring in terms of governance. How many women do you have? Yes. What is the gender balance in the organization? On that tribe thing, there's something I will tell you sidebar.
Today I have many stories to share.
Yeah, I have trauma. There's somewhere where the 3/4 of the management team was one tribe, and sometimes they would end up talking that language.
The language in the boardroom.
Imagine.
Here.
Trauma, yeah.
Looks like we'll take that group therapy class. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Okay. So thank you guys for watching today's episode. We are glad that you joined us. Please subscribe to our channel. We hope that we'll see you next time.
Hiya.
Bye.